Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Brothers Just Searching podcast. Today I have a devotional for you. I'm going to read out of the Bible in the book of Matthew. So if you want to turn to Matthew chapter 4, we're going to talk about what Jesus did in the desert. So I'm going to give you a little bit of context. So before Jesus entered into the desert to be tempted, right before it, John the Baptist had baptized him. And if we start off in Matthew chapter 3, I'll read verses 13 on. Then Jesus came to Galilee, to the Jordan, to John, to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him, saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and you come to me?" But Jesus answered him, "Let it be so, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." Then he consented, and Jesus was baptized. Immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." So right after Jesus' baptism, where the Father said, "This is my Son in whom I'm well pleased," we go into chapter 4, and it starts out saying, "Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." So right after his baptism, and right after the Father said, "I am pleased in him," he goes into the desert. And continuing in verse 2, "And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, 'If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread.' But he answered, 'It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word which comes from the mouth of God.'" So the first temptation of Satan was to satisfy Jesus' immediate desire, his hunger. So he started out with going to satisfy or gratify the flesh, immediate gratification. And Jesus answered Satan with the law of Deuteronomy, and he said that we don't live just by food, but we survive off of every word that comes out of the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." Now, in this temptation, the devil brings him up to the pinnacle of the temple. So this was a very, very busy place in the temple. So everyone was gathering around. They had tons of shops, tons of people coming and going. And the pinnacle of the temple was right where they blew the shofar to make announcements. So if Jesus would have jumped off of the pinnacle and allowed for the angels to bring him up, then it would have been the perfect setting for Jesus to announce his coming as a Messiah. But that wasn't God's will. So Jesus said to him, "Again, it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." So if he would have jumped off the pinnacle, he would have been putting the Lord to the test. And again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these will I give to you, if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and were ministering to him. So in the desert, Jesus sacrificed all of his physical desires so that he can meditate on the word, so that he can fast and pray. And so whenever the devil came to tempt him, he put before him the immediate gratification of his worldly desires. So he started out with the desires of the flesh, and then he went to the desire of pride, of wanting to be known and to be recognized. And then Satan tempted him with the test of worldly gain. And Jesus knew that all these things weren't the Father's will. So how did he respond? He responded with the law from Deuteronomy. So Jesus, even as he was a kid, he was studying the law in Deuteronomy, and for good cause too. Whenever Satan put him up to the test, he had the right word in the right season just to respond to the temptation. And so I want to leave off with this. Many of us, we come to a desert place and we feel like we're out of resources, and we are on the brink of wanting all of our desires fulfilled. And Satan comes to tempt us at that moment. All three of those temptations were immediate gratification of personal desire. And so whenever Satan came up to Jesus to tempt him, he had the word of God ready in that hand, and he knew exactly which scriptures would move him forward and what would fortify his place and his stance with God. So after 40 days of fasting and praying, Jesus was ready to endure the temptation and to stand on the word and to continue to be the son in whom God is well pleased. So if you're ever in a desert and you don't know what to do whenever you're tempted, open up the word of God and meditate on it, so that whenever you're in the desert place and Satan comes to you and wants you to fulfill the immediate desires of your flesh, just know that you can stand on the word of God and he will bring you out of that desert. So Jesus was baptized, and then he went into the desert and endured the temptation and came out with angels ministering to him. So if you need some ministry, endure the temptation and use the word of God. And that's all I have for today. You can join me next time on Brothers Just Searching Podcast Devotional. Thank you. Have a good day.